Welcome to the Militia Gaming Community Channel. I'm Trigger Militia, and today I will be talking in depth about how to use Mirage in Apex Legends, specifically on Xbox One. Before we get into the video, I want to mention all the videos on my channel are for Xbox players. That doesn't mean that if you're a PlayStation or PC player, you can't learn from my videos, but all of the button callouts, strategies, and reviews I do are specific to the Xbox One platform. If you're an Xbox player, you find this video helpful, and you want more Xbox-specific guides, strategies, and tech reviews, consider subscribing. I only play on Xbox One, so that's the entire focus of my channel. Also, stay tuned until the end of the video where I will be sharing with you 5 Mirage Pro tips. Alright, let's go! First, let's talk about the different legend archetypes. Much like Overwatch, Apex Legends has 4 different types of legends: offensive, defensive, support, and tracking. Mirage is an offensive legend. His abilities complement an aggressive playstyle. He is at his best when pressuring the enemy and flanking. Mirage's passive ability, Encore, can be handy in certain situations, but most of the time it's merely delaying the inevitable. When Mirage gets knocked, he goes semi-invisible and a clone animation plays. The idea is to trick the enemy player temporarily, allowing Mirage to escape and possibly survive provided his squad wins the gunfight. I'm not sure I like that this ability can only be used after quote-unquote dying, and the clone animation is pretty obvious, and because Mirage is not completely invisible, even average players can easily recognize the difference and find you. That being said, there have been plenty of times where I was knocked and was able to escape because of this ability. Mirage's tactical ability, Psych Out, is a personal clone that can be placed or sent somewhere, and it's phenomenal. To activate it, aim at a location you would like your clone to run and press the left bumper. If you would like your clone to stand next to you, just aim at the ground and press the left bumper. There are so many uses for this ability, I couldn't possibly name them all. In a twitchy, fast-paced shooter like Apex Legends, time to kill is everything. So by having this distraction, even if it's for a quarter of a second, you increase your chances of landing damage first, because your enemy will most likely have at least looked or aimed at your clone. Mirage's ultimate ability, Vanishing Act, allows Mirage to once again cloak by going semi-invisible, and a group of clones spawns around him, which acts as a distraction. This ability is activated by pressing both the left and the right bumpers at the same time. Once activated, you should make your move quick, because you only have 6 seconds of cloaking. There are, again, many uses for this ability, but the primary use should be to evade enemies who might have the upper hand in a fight. Because the cloaking is fairly strong, usually you can get to cover without the enemy players seeing you, which should give you enough time to heal and resume the gunfight. Other uses include flanking and coordinated attacks. You can activate Vanishing Act, then immediately run a flank without the enemy spotting you. This could be super powerful in a gunfight if used at the right time. Your clones also last for about 6 seconds, and the cooldown is 2.5 minutes. Thanks again for checking out this guide. I still have some pro tips for Mirage coming up, but if you're interested in other Apex guides, I'll provide a link in the description below to all my Apex Legends videos. Alright, let's talk strategies. Pro tip number 1. I kinda mentioned this earlier in the video, but I want to hammer this point home because it's what separates the terrible Mirage players from the good ones. And you'll definitely hear other guide videos say this. Use Mirage's tactical ability every time it's ready. You never know when your clone will stumble upon an enemy team. Keep in mind that he's pretty smart, but he won't climb walls or even small ledges. He will, however, jump down from stuff and sprint without you having to do anything. And if you want him to crouch walk, just crouch before you send him out. This is especially powerful because most players do not expect a clone to be crouching. Pro tip number 2. I know I said use your clone all the time, but there are also specific times and places you should be using him. Send your clone to nearby buildings you are planning on looting before you head over there. If another team is there, almost always they will start shooting at your clone, which reveals their position. Now you have a tactical advantage. You know where they are and they don't know where you are. At that point, you can choose to attack or avoid the altercation altogether. Pro tip number 3. If you're in a gunfight and behind cover, you should send your clone from behind your cover to the next nearest cover. then pop out of your cover from the other side and attack the enemy. By doing this, you're almost ensuring that your enemy will focus your clone for a half a second, which if timed right, will allow you to get the drop on them. Pro tip number 4. This one works really well. If you can, play Mirage with a Bangalore. Mirage's decoy is so good in Bangalore smoke. When approaching a gunfight, have Bangalore smoke the enemy, then send your decoy into the smoke. The decoy is already hard enough to detect on its own, but with the smoke it's nearly impossible. The enemies will for sure turn and shoot the decoy, which gives your squad a huge advantage. It gives away their positions and it turns their heads, so you are free to open fire on any of them. Have one teammate hang back outside of the smoke in case any of them decide to run out. Pro tip number 5. Like a lot of my other pro tip number 5s, use Mirage's tactical ability with his ultimate ability. They are very powerful together in all kinds of situations, both defensively and offensively. Defensively, if you're being hammered by an enemy squad, send out your decoy, then immediately pop your ultimate, then run in the other direction. You will be invisible and a bunch of your clones will be standing around, and the one guy that your enemies will see running is your decoy. This is a very powerful way to take the heat off of you for enough time to get cover and possibly heal or reset the gunfight. Offensively, while in a gunfight, do the same thing. Send off your decoy, then pop your ultimate, but this time immediately run a flank, because you only have 6 seconds to do so while cloaked. Their backs should be turned, and if you've executed it right, you'll have a great chance to take them out. There are many more strategies that I may not have talked about in this video, so if you have your own pro tip, make sure you leave it in the comments down below. I would love to hear how you guys are using Mirage. Thanks again for watching. Trigger out.